Hello guys, today I'm going to show you how to build microprofile from scratch. I will be going through a framework which is called microprofile, and we'll be covering this in detail, and I'll be covering from scratch how to build microservices. So I have a repository. I have written a complete tutorial about microprofile framework, and let's go through this and update. I will explain you with the help of this tutorial which I have already created. I am opening the chapter 1, which is about microprofile, what it is. So this is all about the introduction of microprofile. I will also share the details in the description so that after this session you can follow along and you can use this for self study or reference after this session. But today we will be covering it in detail, and you have to be patient. It could be a long session. So now let me start with what is microprofile. So this is an introductory chapter. I will be sharing here in this chapter the fundamentals, and you will understand why it is required, what are the benefits of microprofile framework. It is slightly different than Spring Boot, but the principles can be applied in Spring Boot as well. So if you are a Spring Boot developer, if you already have an application which is using Spring Boot 3 or any other version of Spring Boot, you will be able to find similar concepts, similar APIs in Spring Boot as well. But yes, this framework is a very modern framework, recently created. So this is maintained by Eclipse Foundation. This is also based on Jakarta EE standards. So this is being supported by various vendors, including Open Liberty. So we'll see more details about it next in this particular chapter. Before that, let me bring and share with you the official site of the tutorial. This is about to be available. No, this is official tutorial for this particular framework, and the site is I will share. So yeah, this is the tutorial site. We have already I have submitted and got all the chapters reviewed, and yes, here you will be able to find all the chapters. Yes, but right now I'm covering from my fork because some of the updates are still under review and they will be shortly available, and I will be doing some final refinement also. So let me share this with you in the chat. So yes, in the meantime I come back. We will cover yes, feel free to share any comments on the tutorial. I have shared you the official version of the tutorial. So we'll be covering what is microprofile, what is the need for microprofile, what's microprofile specification, and current implementation. So I'll cover these in short. So microprofile is an open source specification, and it's like any other Java specification, open source. It is managed by Eclipse Foundation. So it's vendor neutral and it is supported by multiple vendors. Now there is an microprofile working group. You can find out the URLs, and you can find out the URLs of the project and the site of the project in this particular section. And you will also see that various industry partners, individuals and user groups are engaged in the development of this particular framework. So this is developed by various popular companies like IBM, Red Hat, Microsoft, some of the leading ones, Oracle, and many more. So what is the need of this new framework? So basically we had Jakarta EE, but the industry wanted to have a framework which is lean enough. It should not have additional overhead. Running very effective and lightweight footprint is very important in microservices because of scalability reasons. So this particular framework was designed so that you get only the features which are required for building microservices, not more. And this framework is focused on microservices only. So you can read that in more detail. I'm just covering some of the main points. So yeah, there was some limitations with the existing framework. They were not specifically designed for microservices. They were heavyweight and they were more focused towards monolith. Now cloud native is another new concept which has come, and this framework also supports cloud native development. So there is various features which are supported, for example external configuration, health checks, fault tolerance, and many more. I will be covering each of these features in a separate chapter, so that we will be looking into it in more detail. So community driven, so these are some of the benefits. This is we already covered, and it's focused on simplicity, very simple to use. You will enjoy, and the APIs are very declarative, easy to understand, makes the code very easy to read and maintainable. Support for familiar programming models, so it supports Java EE, JSON processing, binding, RESTful web services. It is leveraging existing standards and APIs. Now it is lightweight and resilient. So this is we already covered. Then you have it is also adapting new trends. So for example, reactive programming model, API first development, documentation, open API, this all we will see. Eventual consistency and learning and long running actions, all these are the various features which are there. So here enhanced observability and monitoring. So here is the overall component diagram of the framework. So you can see this specification is divided into two main categories. One is the standalone specification, and there are microprofile specification. So here it supports features like telemetry. This is important for having observability in your microservices. You have open API. Open API is important for documentation. So let me make it more visible to the screen. Yeah. So I'm using a wide monitor, so sometimes some of the text is cutting off. So just I'm refining it. So you have documentation APIs. You have REST client, because communication between different microservices is also very important. So this module REST client 3.0 helps in communicating between two microservices. Configuration, which we talked about just now. Then health checks, authentication, matrices. Telemetry and matrices are very important for observability. Matrices will also include performance matrices. So it is also important for getting the effective experience, from very good experience for your users. Fault tolerance is about reliability. So you cover observability, we cover maintainability with open API, we cover here extensibility, or here easy consumption of our APIs. We cover configurability, we cover health check, which is about availability, and this is authentication for security, and this is matrices for again observability, performance monitoring. And then there is core profile. Core profile is the basic APIs for running RESTful web services. So now I'm going further. In this, I have provided linkages to all the specifications. So each of these component has their own specification. So for example, I'll give a I'll take you to configuration. So if you click on configuration, you see this is the microprofile specification configuration 2. This is the version, and then you can read the standards. So this is specification is available in PDF, it is available in HTML format, Java doc, whatever you like, you can choose. And say for example, if I go to spec HTML format, you will see this is specification. But this is specification mainly targeted for vendors who are building servers or who are building the runtime environment. It's sometimes very complicated, not very easy to understand for developers. So that's why I have written the tutorial. Tutorial is easy to understand from the developer perspective, but here this is important from vendor perspective or platform developer perspective. If you are building a container which will be running microservices and supporting all the features of microprofile, if you are planning to create your own implementation, if you are like a employee in Open Liberty, IBM, Red Hat, building servers, then this is important for you to go through this particular specification. But otherwise, you may not need to go through the specification. You can use tutorial to understand the APIs and some examples, and then you can explore more when you are building more complex features in the project. So this tutorial is helping people to get started with microprofile APIs. Now I'm showing you this also links to all the components here. And then this is important, this is all the implementation. So these are various servers which support this microprofile API. So here Pyra Micro, so these all are again links. You can go and visit these vendors and see their solution which can be used to build microservices and run microservices. Commonly you use in Spring Boot embedded Tomcat, but there are many other options. Similarly in microprofile also there are many application servers which are available. So Apache Tommy, this is the Jakarta EE implementation of Apache Tomcat. Apache Tomcat was just a servlet container. It supports servlet, but it does not support advanced features of Jakarta EE or Java, Enterprise Java. So here this is another implementation. You can go through this website, try using it. Sometimes you may get better performance, better reliability, better developer friendliness, because all these servers, they come with their own tools. So I'm not going through each of them, but yes, this is good to know that you have Open Liberty, Quarkus, Wildfly, Helidon, and this particular Fujitsu launcher as well. These are the servers which are compliant with microprofile framework. So now so many options are there. Let's look into the architectural philosophy, which is simplicity, modularity, standard based, community driven, vendor neutral, focused on cloud native application. All these we have covered. And there is a white paper also about this particular microprofile architecture philosophy. So what was the need of microprofile what was the need of microprofile architecture, microprofile framework, and what was the architectural philosophy behind it? Okay, so I think this link I have to kind of fix. No worries, I'll share the fixed one. So let me go to the file and show you the right image so that we have the continuity, because philosophy is something important criteria. So basically I just kind of summarized the same text content into visual representation or a mind map. So here you can see this mind map. It is more easier to understand to give you the complete idea about what is microprofile architecture. So this is it's evolving, community driven, so it's not vendor specific, so you don't have the problem of locking, so it's vendor neutral. And community driven means you have contributors who are working for their passion. It's not like people working because they are employed to do their job. So here you will get very good evolution and you will get the best of innovation. You will also see participation from multiple organizations, so more collaboration brings in more innovations. It is simple, focused on simplicity. It's focused on modularity. So one very important feature is, if you don't want to use some of these features, you may not use that particular component in your runtime. So this particular specification makes the runtime also very modular. And then you have a standard based, because this is governed by Eclipse Foundation. It supports reactive programming and it is focused on cloud native application development. So you see here modern trends are also used in this particular application framework. So now let's go back to our chapter. So this is all about microprofile. If you have any questions, you can feel free to drop a message in the comments. I'm checking the comments or chat. So yeah, just share your queries in the chat, then I will be able to answer them. So this is all about microprofile, just the introduction. Some glossary also I have provided here. You can go through it about what these things are. So for example, JSON processing. JSON processing is an API that parses, generates and transforms JSON data. So this is all JSON processing API from Java EE or Jakarta EE. Then you have JSON binding. So this is about converting, serializing, deserializing the JSON data to Java objects and vice versa. RESTful web services. This is about REST APIs, context and dependency injection. So all these important terms I have put here in the glossary. But yes, we'll cover them in more details as we will be going through each of these chapters, right? So I will probably, yeah, we are not covering Isito. This one, let me skip this. I'll just make some notes here that yes, in this particular conversation we will not be covering this, but it's good to know all this. So let's move to chapter 2. So I see a message. Okay, thanks from New Era Bonds saying amazing conversation. So next thing is let's move on to chapter 2. Chapter 2 is getting started with microprofile. So here we have development environment setup, configuration build tools, initializing a microprofile project. So we'll be covering all this and I will be demonstrating real development in IDE in GitHub Codespaces. So I will be using Visual Studio Code. You can also try it with me as I'm doing. I'm covering this tutorial. I will be also demonstrating how to code, and you can also code with me. If you are watching it in laptop, you can try it in the laptop. So again, important terms, you would all be knowing that there is Java Development Kit. This is the prerequisite. So if you want to set up your environment, you need a Java Development Kit. You will need the latest version of Java. I'm using Java 17 here, and in this particular application which we will be developing, I'll be demonstrating building an e-commerce application from scratch. So I will be using build tools, which is Maven. You can also use Gradle, but for demonstration purpose, to keep the content shorter, I'll be using Maven. But I will also be providing you commands to use Gradle, so you can try any of these build tools. So let's dive into real development. So here it's all steps for setting up your environment. So instead of reading through this chapter, we can do it so that you understand it better. But again, I have here described some important terms, important links. If you want to try out different environments, runtime environments, there are links to Pyra Micro and how to set up their download and installation instructions for all the vendors I have provided here. So let's get into it. I will be using Open Liberty. So Open Liberty is IBM, a runtime from IBM. It is very mature. It was earlier WebSphere, so it kind of built by the same group which built web sphere application server, but nowadays it is very modern and lightweight. So you can see here it is very dynamic. You can update it while the server is running, add more components. It is lightweight also, so it is not very heavy weight. It is like Apache server, Apache Tomcat, and it's built for productivity and application performance. So now what I will show you how to build very complex application in your browser itself. So nowadays, no, we don't need to have some very high-end computers. So I'm using very simple computer, a MacBook with 4 GB RAM. Mostly, I use Codespaces. Codespaces helps me save my laptop processing, because I can get virtual machines which are more powerful, right? So I'm just saying that I'm creating a new code space here. So this code space is asking me to select a repository, it's asking me to select a branch, and all these things. So I will also be sharing the source code in GitHub, but we will build everything from scratch. So we may not choose a repository. You can choose a repository if you want, right? So that it will import all the code, source code of your repository. Correct? So the other way around is you can just use, you can create a code space. So let me, okay, it's better to choose a repository. You can create a blank repository if you don't have, because when you are trying, it is also important, since everything is done on the virtual machine, you check out, you commit all your code changes so that it is available for you for later reference. Because if you don't use a repository, then it will be a problem for you. You will lose your work. So I highly recommend you use a repository. So let me also choose a repository. I have some repository. You can search if you can create a new one if you don't have a repository. Right? So let me show you also how to create a new repository. So quickly I'm showing you, because for people who are not aware of how to create a new repository, it's very simple. You log into your GitHub and there is a option for new repository, right? Or if you have existing repository, you can look into your repositories in GitHub. On the left side, it shows you list of all the repositories. So let me choose this particular repository. I will just copy this path, and when I will be creating a new GitHub code space, I will give this as my repository, right? So I am selecting this. You don't have to give the complete path, only the portion of it, right? So now this code repository is created. So this is the branch which will be checked out on creation. I have created various branches. Our code starts from chapter 2 and I have repositories for each of these chapters, right? I have branches for each of these chapters. So this way it's very organized. I will share the link of this particular branch so that you can refer yourself also. Now coming to region, you can choose the region which is nearest to you. It's fine to use 2-core CPU, 8 GB RAM, or you can use 4-core also if you want faster, little bit compilation and building of the code will be fast if you use the 4-core processor. But again, no, you have some limit. If you are a paid customer for GitHub Codespace, you don't have to worry about it. But if you are not a paid customer, there are some hours, around 30 hours. You can check out the documentation. So GitHub Codespace is available for free to everyone. So you don't have to pay for this virtual machine, but there is a limit to usage. It is maybe something around, maybe it's 40 hours or some number of hours per month. So sometimes it is sufficient, but if you are a very active developer, you may need to pay it. And you also get Copilot. So let me choose this. And once this is chosen, you can click on the Create Codespace button. Okay, so this will start a virtual machine. So you see that, okay, I will get a virtual machine, and in this virtual machine I get a Visual Studio Code IDE pre-installed, and in the terminal I can also use some Linux commands. There are bash commands which I can use to try out. Okay, so see here, in this particular code space, I have, so it's just loading, so we have to wait for some time. It is preparing the project. So all my source code is kind of getting cached, and it is retrieving it from GitHub repository, and it is preparing this runtime environment. So this is my project. I have created it already. So yeah, now it is loaded, and this is my e-commerce store. I have some REST app as well. So this is projects you can create. Okay, so basically if you are starting from scratch, what you can do is say, let's assume you are starting from scratch. If you start a new repository, you will not get any files, because if you are doing it for the first time. So for things you should check is, you should check whether Java is installed on your system, right? So first thing is, we have to install whatever is the prerequisites for working on this particular microservices. So number one, I will be checking if Java is installed. So let me go and type Java. Yeah. So you see here, I see the Java command. So there is Java already there. You can check the version. Okay, so you see here there is Java 11 installed, not Java 17. We can update it. I will show you how to update it. We will also check about the Maven. So I just run the Maven command. Looks like Maven is also there. Version we can check. So this particular virtual machine comes with some default images. So now we'll talk about how to kind of build your own image, modify this particular machine. So if you want to develop something like Ruby on Rails or Python, then you can install different tools. You can do Node.js development as well. So you can do development in any language using this code space, GitHub Codespace. So now we have the Maven, we have Java. So let me show you how do I update. So I have to update the dev container configuration. So I will say add dev container configuration. Now this is important stuff, please pay attention. So this is very helpful. As I said, you can use this to develop any develop in any programming language. So you can say here modify your active configuration. So you can modify existing configuration or you can create a new configuration. Okay, so now there is a new configuration which is getting created, right? So basically the configuration is getting created on this particular folder which is .dev container, and this is a file devcontainer.json which will store all the details of your environment. So here we got a wizard also, so we can select the features. So you can see here there are so many features. So you can use .NET. So .NET development is also possible. Almost all kind of environments are available. There is a long list of environments which are available here. So you can do development almost in any programming languages. So we are interested in Java. So we choose Java. And in Java, we will use the tool SDKman. SDKman is a tool which can be used to install multiple versions of Java. So I take this and I say OK. So you see here, this is the Java. There is a image. So basically you can put a Docker image also. So if you want something, some development which is not available by default, you can replace this with your Docker image path. So again, no, I'm not covering in detail about Docker containers, but yes, I can share some link to videos I have shared in the previous sessions about how to do development with Docker. So I will show again how to choose dev container configuration. Now let me say I want to modify the dev container configuration. So basically this gives me the Docker container, which is some generic container. Again, I'm not sure whether they will have the Java container, but how to choose a Java version I will again show you. So I will say Codespace and then say modify existing configuration. So you can say modify or add also. So let me do here. So yeah, here you get modify your active configuration or create a new configuration. So when you say create a new configuration, your existing configuration already exists. Okay, so it can show me all definitions. So I chose here Java. So here we say Java dev container. Now it shows me which version I would like to use, right? So we can choose Java. I can use Maven. So Maven tool we can also select. So it automatically figures out that you are doing Java development. So you would be needing either Maven or Gradle, and that's all we want. So we will just update this, and it's asking that already exists, overwrite. Yes, we will overwrite. So here you see the dev configuration contains Java. Now the name is Java. You can modify it. This is just for your reference. So we can say this is MicroProfile. Okay, and then we have this Java version. You can change this version either by choosing from the wizard, or you can type here the exact version. So for example, if you want to use 21, then you can change this 17 to 21. Now here this is about the features, which is we have Maven, we don't choose Gradle, so all that is there, and there are some more features also. I'll demonstrate that later. But now I have changed the configuration, so I have to rebuild the container. So this is another important step, because now we have to install Java 17. So I will say rebuild. Yeah, so you see here the option. container. So this is just rebuilding. We'll restart this container, and now a new Docker image will be running. And here we got by default Java 17. Now you will get Java. We got by default Java 11. Now after restart, we'll get Java 17 because this is what we have specified. If you have chosen some other environment, for example C#, then with rebuild, you will get the container which will be having C#. So now this is setting up, and yes, it is fast now because it will be cached mostly. So you see here, this is the progress bar, and now my IDE will come here. Okay. So in the meantime, let me come back to the tutorial and again open the chapter 2. So chapter 2 has lots of subsections. So we were looking into first section of chapter 2. Okay, so I am streaming also, so sometimes some of the bandwidth is getting utilized in streaming. Maybe I need a faster internet connection, but yes, it's loading. And let me come back to the chapters which we were talking about. So yeah, it's loading still. Multiple tasks are going in the background, so it's taking time. So yes, we are waiting for a minute. So right now this tutorial is available as the document in GitHub, but I will be building a website also, and this will be available as a website so that it is more convenient for you to browse all the chapters. And this website will have a lot of nice formatting, so that I will also demonstrate maybe towards the end of this tutorial. Okay, so next, by the time it's loading, I can demonstrate you something more in Visual Studio Code. So because once we have got the Java 17 installed, we may also need some extensions to work in our Visual Studio Code IDE. Okay, so let me see my status of yes. So documentation, and just a minute. So yeah, now maybe sometimes server is slow, so that could be a problem. But here we have got the dev environment set up to some extent. We should have the build tool. Maven build tool is also there. We should create a new microprofile project. That also will demonstrate how to do that. And then we have to choose the right modules, because we'll be adding the modules one by one. We will be building a RESTful web service. We will be deploying it, and we will be testing the microservice. So this is all which we'll be doing. So I showed you how to do this on GitHub Codespace. Definitely you can do it in your local system also. If you are doing it in local system, then you can run it via these commands, right? But if you want to do it in Codespace, then you have to follow the video. So yes, this is not documented about Codespaces in this particular tutorial, because this tutorial is focused on MicroProfile framework. So we did installation of Maven also. So this is in this particular guide you will get the instruction how to do it, how to test it. Then you can also choose between various IDE. So you can use Eclipse for enterprise Java or web developers, or you can use IntelliJ IDEA, or you can use Apache NetBeans. And in this particular demonstration I am using Visual Studio Code, because that's what is available in GitHub Codespaces. So either you can download this Visual Studio Code locally, or you can run it with Visual Studio Codespaces. Now setting up the runtime, so these are the choices which we discussed. Then we have a MicroProfile starter application. So now comes how to start building a project, right? So here we have one website which is called MicroProfile Starter. So when I have the MicroProfile Starter, you see here it asks me to choose the group ID of the project. So this is a web application. It's also available in your ID as a wizard, but this is also very interesting thing to know, because this is one way of building a project. You can say what's the group ID. So for example, if I want to run my project, and since this is an official tutorial, I'll choose the path which is similar to the website. So here we can choose, like, this is the group ID. Then it ask for artifact ID. So if I'm building a e-commerce project, I may have, say, various services. So you say, for example, if I can build a product catalog, then I can say product catalog, or shopping cart, or various microservices. So we'll be building a lot of microservices. Then we have to choose a MicroProfile version. So we can choose here MicroProfile 5.0, and then we can choose the components, so which we discussed. If you need configuration, fault tolerance, you can check them all one by one, right? What version of Java you want to use, that also we can choose here. And then runtime here, open liberty. So there are various options which is available. And then once you have chosen all this, you can simply click on download. It will give you the zip file. So this is one way of building the project for MicroProfile. Very straightforward. Let me share this link in the chat so that you can use this. So let me give you in the chat the instructions for starting a new MicroProfile project. So this is the link, MicroProfile Starter app. Okay. So now you also have here the plugins which you can install in your IDE. So for Java development, you have extension for Java. So if you search for Java, we have here language support for Java, and you have plugins for Spring Boot, Spring Initializer, a lot of things are there. So here I choose extension pack for Java. So extension pack is collection of extensions. So you get many plugins. So we get the language support, we get the debugger, we get the test runner, so many things. Maven plugin. So this is really good, right? Intelligent coding. So I'll choose this. And with this, we will also have we have to also add some more plugins. So now let me add some more plugins also. So Java plugin, I can just install. It's already installed. I clicked on the install, so it is installed. Then there is a plugin for MicroProfile. So we can choose that. It will search, and then tools for MicroProfile. You see here. And this is again an extension pack. So it will have multiple extensions, I believe. So, or if it is not, then we should choose here extension pack for MicroProfile. This is better because it includes all these plugins. So you have tools for MicroProfile, you have MicroProfile starter plugin, you have the client plugin. So that we will install. So I'll click again here at the top, install. So trust this publisher. This published by MicroProfile community is official MicroProfile plugin. Then I'll install Open Liberty tools also. Not very important, but it's just a convenience. There are plugins if you are using some other runtimes, for example Quark, Pyra, then there are plugins for it. So let me install this. Yes, nowadays AI based code assistants are very common, right? So here this is Watson AI code assistant for enterprise Java. So but yes, we can use Copilot if you want to use Copilot. This is also very good AI based assistant. So let me also install that Copilot, because it will be now good to demonstrate Copilot, a AI based pair programmer. So you see here, I will install this, and this way you will be able to ask and get more help with AI assistance while you are coding. So it fastens your development. So I will demonstrate how to use Copilot for you. So I've added all these plugins in my IDE and these are installed. But if we rebuild, this Copilot, this code space, then these plugins, these extensions will get lost, right? So what we can do is we can modify the customization setting. So you see here, configure tool specific properties, and this is the customization, right? So here we can add the extension ID of all the plugins which we want to install when we rebuild this code space, so that it's available for you for future. So let me ask Copilot to do that instead of doing it myself, because configuration is a task which is not very intelligent heavy, and I would like to have Copilot do it for me. So I will just ask as a chat, add Java extension pack as a Copilot configuration, as a dev container. So I would say add Java extension pack in my dev container configuration. Now there are two ways to do it. One is you can ask Copilot to give the code, or you can ask Copilot to change your code. So I like the later one, where I say, okay, act as an agent. Agent is more smarter, and you can choose various models also. I like this Claude 3.7. This is even better than Chat GPT version 4.0. So if I use this and I give this chat command that please update my dev container configuration and add Java extension pack in my dev container configuration, it will do it by itself. Right, so it's easy. So it's doing it. It will show me the changes and I have to approve it, and then these changes will be there. So it's saying, okay, it's currently examining the current dev container configuration. So figuring out where exactly the changes has to be applied, and then it will be applying the changes in appropriate places. So I just asked it to do for Java extension pack, right? But I will also ask, if this is done successfully, I'll ask to add two more plugins, which is the MicroProfile pack, and also we have the chat Copilot plugin, right? So Copilot plugin also I will add. Okay, so it is taking some time. Yeah, so let me check. Okay, it's trying to do a lot of things which may not be. So it's searching for the current extension pack IDE. Okay, so it is searching, and yeah, sometimes it's faster to do it yourself if you really know things. But yes, now it has done some things. Okay, I don't want everything. So VS Code Java pack. This is good enough. Now other stuff it is also asking some more things it has added. I may not want it, so I will remove it. I'll I'll remove this comma also because now it's not needed. And dev container node, because yes, I think this is something which is additional. So here it's very important that you review the code which is generated by Copilot, and things which are fine with you can approve. And now few things I have to change is here the comma we don't need, because no, we need this. Yeah, we got the comma, and we don't need the comma here because this is the last section, so that's why we were getting this error. Now we don't need this comment also, so it's removing. But yeah, I can approve this change. This change is there, and yes, we have to put here the comma so that this error goes, because we have removed here. And rest of the file is same, so I will commit this, right? But I will also ask him to change, or I'll do it manually now because I got the structure, it's faster. So now we want to add next time we rebuild this environment, we want to save the configuration. So I would add the extension ID of so this is the extension GitHub Copilot. So let me just see that here. I'll copy this and I'll put here that okay, I also want a plugin for so there are two extensions I want. So I'll take this GitHub Copilot, and then I will also choose MicroProfile. Okay. So MicroProfile extension pack. Yeah. So here again the identifier is there. So I'll add this. So this completes our environment setup. Yeah, for chapter 2, some minor changes we may need for later chapters, but this is what we have, right? So we are already on the branch, so we can sometimes it's easier to check with GitHub Copilot that how to check our current branch, right? So sometimes if you are facing any problem with GitHub commands, that also you can kind of ask Copilot to do. So for example here I could say GitHub git branch. Okay, so it's giving me command like okay, you can check git branch. So we can execute here by clicking. Okay, so here it is insert into. So there are three options. One is insert into terminal, insert at the cursor position in this editor, and the last one is copy to clipboard, right? So I want to insert into terminal, so it shows me here git branch. Sometimes it's faster to if you have a long command, it is faster to copy and execute it. So it says okay, I'm in the branch chapter 2. Then here there is a status also, so we can just say get this also into the terminal and run. So there are few files which are changed, so that is fine. We will be committing these changes. So here this is a very good GitHub plugin which will be committing all our changes, right? So GitHub creates some depender bot to track your dependencies. So this is, we don't have to worry about auto-generated thing, but dev container is what we plugins, and also the environment which is Java 17 by default in the GitHub Codespace. So here to commit, yes, you can use the commit command from the your terminal, or what I will be doing is I'll be committing directly using this interface IDE. So I'll commit and push so that it is also synced with the chain with the updates. So I can generate a message using AI. So GitHub commit message can also be generated using AI. So here if you see, it will automatically figure out what we did. So added dev container configuration and did panda bot setup. Okay, so this is fine, decent enough description of the commit. So I'll commit this changes. So this is committing to chapter 2 branch. Okay, so now coming to chapter 2 branch, what do we have? We have a folder REST, Liberty REST app. Here we have a Java folder where we have the source code. So here I have demonstrated creating a simple hello world application, right? So let me show you that. Okay, this is the code. So basically we have a hello world application, we have a hello world resource, right? So MicroProfile is very easy to use, right? So what we can do is we can very easily create a web service. So this is what I demonstrated here. Let me come to chapter content, corresponding chapter content also. So that we go with the flow. So we covered everything in the chapter 2.0 section. Now I'll going to cover everything in the first part of the chapter. So using the IDE. Okay, so we have another way of creating a Maven project is by using this archetype command. So this is also something, let's cover that also. Now this is what you will get, the default project structure. So let's leave it for time being and let's create a new project, right? So here coming back to Codespaces, we have this hello world, and then there is e-commerce store also. Here I would have some services, mostly I have product service. So this source code also I'll demonstrate, but I will also in the meantime demonstrate, because these are first chapter, so you would be wondering how to create a new project, and I did already this in the past, so I got everything already set up in my project. So now what I will ask is how to create a new project. So you can just say new Java project. Basically you have here the option to create a new Java project. So if you want to create a new project, you can either go to file, and then you will have an option to create a new project. Okay, so yeah, so you generate a new microprofile starter project. So this is one way of creating. Other way is you create a Java project. You can choose here. This is also one option. So if you click create a new microprofile starter project, I'll again demonstrate. It'll ask you same thing which we did in the microprofile starter app. We get it in our wizard also. So you can, it will ask you for group ID, so which I can give io.microprofile dot maybe tutorial. This is my group ID. Then it will ask me about enter the artifact ID. Artifact ID could be project or product or whatever I want, hello world if I'm building hello world project, and then it will generate the project. So this is one way of creating a project. Other one is, as I mentioned, that there is a command which I can type directly in the terminal. I will create a new project for me. So this is the second method of creating a new project. You type this in your IDE. Okay, I allow this clipboard copy for my browser because there's an ID which is online ID. So now here if I run this, it will ask me questions in the IDE, and then it will create the project, it will download the artifacts, etc. Right? So this is another way of creating a new project. Right, so you choose a number or apply a filter. So basically it's asking me what is the artifact ID, etc, blah blah blah. And once you are done with these steps, you will get a new project, right? So I'm just canceling this because I don't want to do it. You can try it yourself, and it's very straightforward. You have to fill in the same details, and then what is important is the pom.xml file. So basically you will get the folder structure. So if I show you here, this is the default structure where you have the source folder, target folder, pom.xml file, and here you have all the required dependencies. So here if you see, I have some dependency which is Jakarta platform. So you see here, and MicroProfile dependency. So these are the two important dependencies because I want the entire MicroProfile extension. I also want the entire Jakarta platform. So this is my Hello World application, right? The dependencies for Hello World application. And then I have a simple class here which is called Hello World resource. And in this, I just have a simple return statement which is returning hello open liberty, some message, and I have some annotations because I want to make this as a get service, and it should return plain text. I can return a JSON or XML also, and this is the path at which this service will be available. So this is very simple way of building a web service, right? So I will demonstrate it by executing it. So that's all is there. There is not much in the configuration. Configuration has this web application, some minor details like what port I'm wanting to run my web service. So there are few things which we may get automatically from the archetype created web application when you create a new archetype, but not required. Only things which are required is these two classes. One is the application class. Application class is just an empty class with some path which is the base path for the service, right? If you are used to servlets or used to Spring Boot, then you would understand this because this is exactly same as in Spring Boot, very similar. So now to run this particular service, let's run this. So I'm inside Liberty REST app, and then within REST app I have you can verify here, I have I have to go inside one folder because pom.xml is important. Yeah, now I'll say ls, you see the pom.xml. So now the command to run our application. Okay, so everything is mentioned in this particular tutorial. So you see here, this is the folder structure. Once we have this folder structure, we will have this particular folders which are important. One is for the test cases, one is for our code. So you can delete something which you don't need, but here this is the pom.xml configuration. I have also put all these in separate blogs because sometimes a lot of things which are very fundamental I don't explain in the tutorial, but then I have written a detailed blog about it. I will put that link also in the comments or chat so that you can understand that what each and every XML command in this Maven is doing. So yes, these are various dependencies. So then once we have everything, we can just run this command to validate our pom.xml. right? So let me run this. So either you can go through this tutorial, you may also chat with the Copilot, and it can also suggest some things. Yes, sometimes it will take more time, sometimes it may not suggest you exactly the right things. You can use different models, see which one works well, but yes, but yes, sometimes it's effective. If you have the information in your fingertip, then you will run it directly by referring to tutorial, for example. That would be the best way. So here we have this validation done successfully, so build is successful. So this is another command which I covered in this particular tutorial. So this completes the section 1 of our section 0 was the first one, section 1 was the second one. Now we go to section 3. So section 3 is about choosing the right modules in MicroProfile, right? So here we have chosen MicroProfile 6.1, right? So this is how you do it in Maven, and this is how you do it in Gradle. Now only difference is in Maven you put this in XML format, in Gradle you do it in JSON format. So this is you can add different modules also. So for example, if you want to use configuration, you can add this. If you want health checks, you can add this. And if you want matrices, you can. So I have provided here the links to add each of the component of MicroProfile. This is just for reference, because we have chapters dedicated on OpenTelemetry, we have chapter dedicated to REST client, and for each of these component. So this is just a list for you, but these will be covered in details in the coming chapters. So we don't have to worry here. Now I'm going to next section, which is about developing a RESTful web service, which we just showed. I explained you the code. Here you have a description about what is REST services, what is entity class. Okay, so we are now talking about product entity class, how to build a e-commerce application. Okay, so there is chapter 1, chapter 2, and something more I would like to cover. So yeah, there is some forward to this tutorial. So this tutorial works on version 6.1, and then you have some information about what is this tutorial all about. So in this I've mentioned that we will be learning MicroProfile platform by building MicroProfile based e-commerce application. So in this chapter 2 we started building the product catalog service, and then we added each and every features in the next chapter. For example, configuration in chapter 3, then fault tolerance, matrices, documentation in each of the next chapters, and finally we will get a good production grade microservice running. So this is the complete objective of tutorial. This tutorial is for senior developers, engineers, architects, whoever wants to use MicroProfile for building microservices in real world projects. Now what will be covered? We'll be covering all the specification, most of the well-known specification, and here we have described about the project. So the project will have the product catalog service, it'll have shopping cart service, it'll have user management service, it will have order processing, payment, inventory service. So there are a lot of services which we will be building. The overall architecture of it will be, we have the customer, customer is the user, and then we have a user management service. We will be demonstrating this particular service. We will also be using JWT. So all that we will be covering later. So then we will have the product catalog. Product catalog is the service which we first build. Then we will build other services like we have order processing, inventory, payment, shipping, shopping cart, and these are how these services interact. So in our microservice based application, customer will use first the authentication service. It will get into user management service. Once it is authenticated, then it can do product services, product searches, then it can add items from catalog to shopping cart. It can verify product details, so there are some internal calls also. Once item is added to shopping cart will also validate the inventory, because if inventory is not there, then we should not allow adding the item to the shopping cart. And then once the shopping cart is valid and it has all the details, for example the price of the product, inventory or the quantity, whether it's available or not, and it should be able to make the order. And once order is made, the inventory should get updated and order details should be provided to the payment service, so that it knows what's the payment amount, and then payment gateway can handle the payment. So in these microservices, we will be demonstrating asynchronous processing, we'll be demonstrating how to do retries, how to make your application more resilient by having features like fault tolerance. We will also be demonstrating various fault tolerance mechanism, which is asynchronous calls. We have timeout, retries, bulkheads, circuit breaker. So all that we will be covering with this example. This application is simple enough, understandable enough, and at the same time it is complex enough to demonstrate all features of microservices. And definitely we'll be also covering how to build documentation, how to have observability, and how to have telemetry, performance matrices for all these microservices. So you get all 360-degree feature overview of what all is needed to build a production ready microservice. So this is various topics which we will be covering, right? So learning objective of the tutorial, coding convention, this is all that which we wanted to cover in our prefix. Now coming to the code of web service. So let's run our microservice, right? So first one was the hello world microservice. So very simple to run. We use Maven plugin for Open Liberty. So we have this command liberty mvn liberty run, right? So there are few commands which we can try. So there is a command mvn compile. So let's try that. So this is for compiling our source code. It will verify whether our dependencies are correct or not. And at the same time, it will download the dependencies. See, a lot of things is happening in the background. So lots of libraries are getting downloaded. And then it is used in our application, right? So here, okay, some changes are required, because it is configured to use Java 21. Okay, what we have is Java 17. Okay, now this gives me one more opportunity to demonstrate SDK man. So I showed you that we used SDK man version of Docker image. So SDK man. SDK man is a tool to install the Java versions, right? So that could be used to have Java 21 also. So let me ask, so here let me do say dev container configuration. So we have add dev container configuration file. We'll modify our active configuration, and we will say SDK man. Okay, let's say we want to get this feature. So we say okay. We can configure options here. So there are options. Okay, install Maven, install Ant, install Groovy. So just I choose install Maven. Okay, let's say option we want to install, say, SDK 21. There are various distribution, let's say MS distribution, there is OpenJDK, Oracle, Amazon, so lot many options. Let me choose MS. Let me choose latest. Okay, so I'll just say default. So there are a lot of things which we can install here. So you see here Groovy, Hadoop, Java, Scala, a lot of things. Awesome. So I'd say Java. So you see here I will get these features, right? So let me rebuild this image. So the way to rebuild here is I can go here and I can say rebuild. Okay, automatically it will also detect when we change this dev container configuration. So to rebuild, I would say rebuild container. Yeah, you can use this option. When you rebuild a container, your code is not lost. So code is all saved even if it is not committed. But yes, when you do full rebuild, you may lose your work. So it's better to kind of commit your changes before you do a full rebuild. But what I'm doing is just a rebuild, and rebuild will just update my dev container and it will not update the cache of my dev container. So my code, whatever is there in the IDE, will be preserved even if it is not committed. And it's building the dev container. So we will have 21, Java 21. So then there are other commands like mvn test, mvn package, and then there are container based commands. So we will be using this mvn liberty run. This will run in the open liberty server, and this is mvn liberty dev. This will run our application in the debug mode or dev mode, where you will have, as you change the source code without restarting and redeploying your server, you will have hot code deployment. So that also I will demonstrate you. So yeah, maybe you can make a note of all these commands, and this is specific for mvn liberty. For other servers there are other commands as well. So let's look into the other section by the time our container gets rebuilt. So our source code. So this is our source code. It's also talking about the test cases that is used to build our chapter 1 test cases, right? And here we have some important website. So let me put this in the chat. Okay, I see a good message from Split Screen Bits. Thank you for sharing about yourself. No worries if you are studying for exam. I will share the recording. So recording of this session will also be available in YouTube, and you will be able to watch this later. Correct? Okay, thank you for subscribing to my channel. So I'm glad that you subscribed, and definitely I'll be covering all these concepts multiple times in different contexts, in different sessions, so you can always stay updated. Okay, so now I am yes, just posting about all these nice links in my chat, so that people who are just joining, they can also follow along. So this is MicroProfile website. Let me just chat about this. Okay. So this is important links. GitHub repository. This is my repository where all the tutorials are there. And then we have the documentation and guides. Okay, this is the official MicroProfile documentation. I'll also make a list here. So these are okay, this particular last link I have to put this. Okay, so something is let me come back and then go to specification, work, resources. Okay, so in the resources we have all the specifications, etc. So maybe I'll update this after some time in the comments what is the right documentation version, because now there are many versions of documentation, so this link would have changed. But now coming to our code, in the previous section we covered about what is the code all about. So basically the code is very simple. It is a Pojo class, and then with this Pojo class we get yeah, so for example here you see here, this is a simple class which has just the attributes. So whatever attributes we want to have for our hello world web service, we don't want any attribute, and but for our product web service we want ID, we want name, description and price. So these are very few attributes. You may have more, but for simplicity I have kept it like less. So let's see if our dev container is ready. Yes, it's ready. Let's go to our project. First I will be demonstrating hello world. So REST app. Okay, great. Now I will run again mv and compile to see if this builds this time. Now we have the Java 21. Okay, let's I should have first verified, switch to Java 21. If not, okay, but yeah, it now works because we have this configuration for Java 21, right? So some more commands. So SDK man also be there here. Our version we can check. Okay, SDK man is not there. Okay, no worries, but SDK is the command, I believe. List Java. Okay, yes, so you got it. So the tool is called SDK man, but the command is SDK. So it lists all the Java version which is available with this particular tool, correct? So it also lists what is installed. So it shares Microsoft version 21.0. This is the Java JVM version built by Microsoft. So now Microsoft is also contributing a lot in Java. So also the tutorial is also supported by Java by Microsoft. So you see here what all is installed. So there are various commands. So it's also very convenient. Now next time if I want to switch version, I'll use SDK man. So I will just yeah, for right now this is compiling. So now let me run this microservice. So the command is mvn liberty. Let's run this in dev mode. So this will build and run this. microservice, and this microservice is just a hello world microservice. It just prints a message. So yeah, a lot of dependencies are required. It's downloading and it's making the server ready to run. So we have here the important message that server default server created, and it's downloading various modules or libraries. Now you see here this is available is running in dev mode. Okay, so this is the mode, this is the port which is for debugging. Debug port is 777, so no worries. But here the Liberty server HTTP port is 5050. So this is important for us. You can see this in so here we are in a virtual machine, so you can't just use local host, but here we have the list of ports, and we can choose here the open in browser, right? So now it will open our Liberty application server, and it will open the 5050 port. So it is redirected to this particular URL. So this is how GitHub Codespaces work. It redirects each of the port to a different URL so that you can access it remotely. Now this is there. Now our API was, I think, called let me come back. So here our API has the path in hello world application. So you have /API, which is the base path. Then we have /hello. Okay. So if I go to Liberty, open Liberty, and then say API /hello, it should print the message. Okay. So if I don't see the message, we can see in the terminal what's happening. Okay. So it somehow stopped the server. So is that the reason why we were not seeing any message? Okay, I can put Q to stop this server. So let me say mvn install to build this project. So we have this get service, we have this hello as the path, and we have the application API. Great. So now let me run again. Let me run it in normal mode. I'm giving just one more try. Otherwise, I'll try the GitHub Codespaces. Let me open this in browser. Okay, so this is my server is running. This is the home page of the server. Now I'm saying API /hello. This is the path of my get microservice. I don't see the response. So here we have the feature. We are using RESTful web service. It has also installed most of the dependencies which were required. Somehow that particular service is not running. So probably this problem we have to fix something here. The get method, so let me ask Copilot. So on calling slash API hello, I am not seeing the response of my hello world get microservice. Can you find out the problem? This was working. This time it is not working. Might have changed. We might have accidentally changed something. So let me try with Copilot if it can figure it out what is the problem. Let me in the meantime also look into this. So we have a hello world resource. This is an application scoped. So ensure your application configured. So here we got some inputs. So it is suggesting me something. Yes, we have this. Or by proper web, yeah, this is fine. We have this properly done, application path configuration. So this is application path, but here we have path. Yeah, so this is Jakarta. It might be WS core application. Okay, so this we would have done. We are extending application. We have application path. So this is verified. This is nicely asked. Okay, then we have make sure server is running and the REST application is deployed without error. Okay, some warnings are there. Okay, there could be some warnings. Okay, so we have context root. Context root is API. Okay, and then hello. Then we have ensure all required dependencies are present in pom.xml. Yes, so I would say that, okay, would you like me to check your application or server configuration? So I'll say yes, please check, because something might be missing. I'm not able to identify it. I ran this earlier, but might be with some configuration changes or some code changes, accidentally things got changed. But let's verify also ourselves while this is verifying. Its packaging type is var. We have the web.xml not needed basically. Created web application. Some conflict is happening. Okay. Okay. So the path is not right. It is suggesting that Liberty REST app, because that's the project name. So let's try this with because the context root is your project, then API, then hello. Yes. So doing it after some days, so I've forgotten that. So this is really helpful. So here hats off to Copilot for resolving this problem, right? And now I see this message, hello world, open Liberty with GitHub Codespaces. All this is getting printed. Okay. So this is about how to run it in this particular mode, which is the run mode. We are running it in not development mode, we are running it in normal mode. Now let me run this in dev mode. So I give mv and liberty dev this command, and same application will be running in now development mode. That means if I make any changes, it will be automatically reflected, right? So now application updated into 0.214 seconds. So here I will refresh this. You see this message, hello open liberty with GitHub Codespaces, JDK 21 and MicroProfile 6.0, Jakarta EE 10. So let me do some small minor changes. So demonstrating that this application works in. So let me say GitHub and I will say also Maven 3.9.9. Okay, whatever. So just this for demonstration purpose, we don't mean to have the correctness. So I just changed the code, not even saved it. Automatically it detects the changes because there is auto save now in Visual Studio Code. And I go here. So here you see no Maven right now, but if I refresh my service, you see here this is updated. So fast development is possible with this that without without redeployment or recompilation, hot code replacement is available. So this makes your development very effective. So this with this we verified our development environment. Now let me take a small break and then I'll come back and we'll proceed with building the e-commerce application. So I'll take hardly 2 minutes break and then we'll be back in 2 minutes. So let me put the break signboard and come back in 2 minutes. Okay, so now I'm back. Let me just check because now GitHub Codespaces should be running. Yeah, if we take a longer break sometimes, then it automatically closes because this is a virtual environment, right? So now you see some features like, okay, it automatically sometimes suggests some documentation, etc. So we ran a hello world application using microprofile. We verified our setup. We used Java 21, we used Maven, and we used some sample code. Now let's build the micro profile e-commerce application, e-commerce store, which I call, because it will be consisting of multiple microservices. So as we saw in the chapter content, there was a product service. Now I will introduce you some more frameworks here. One framework is the Lombok. Lombok is a very good tool, library, which cuts down a lot of boilerplate code. So here you see there is a data annotation. What it does is it generates getters and setters. So you have annotation, no argument constructor, and all argument constructor. These annotation, what it does, they generate the constructors. So your code is very clean, and it's also readable. So this is the benefit. And we have this Pojo class. Pojo class stands for plain old Java object. So here it is, I'm using ID, I'm using name, I'm using description and price. So these four attributes for simplicity, because our purpose is to help you understand the microprofile framework and also understand the basics of microservices and what all is needed to learn a production ready microservice, not getting into too much of business logic. In real world you may need an image, you may need something discount and more information, but just to keep simple, I have these four attributes. Now we have a resource application, REST application here, and some resource class. So resource class will define a list. So here we have the list, and we have a get method. We have hard-coded do products. So this is just a sample application. So I have added two products here in the constructor. One is iPhone 15. Price also I have added. Descriptions, very simple description. I have another product which is MacBook Air laptop. So these two products are my sample products in this store. And I have a method called get all products, and this will be available in products endpoint. I have a application configuration, so simple code, hardly few annotations. So no additional configuration here, just the API, and then we have the remaining things. So let me close this server which is running, because now we have to switch to a different project, right? So I choose the different project, which is this project is called MP Conf e-commerce store. So CD MP autocomplete, and I'm into new project. So now again I'll be building. So mvn compile, but let me validate the POM configuration. So this is fine. So I will show you the POM configuration also. So here you see POM configuration is loading, and yes, we have a group ID, and then we have here the e-commerce store. We have this some other configuration about packaging type is var. This is required from Open Liberty. Okay, I'm using here compiler source 17. Let's see, it should work. We have some ports HTTP port is important because this is where we will be getting a REST service running. We have the context root, so this becomes your path. Okay, so if you just don't give it, then your application will be available in the slash, in the very small path. You will not have this project name in the path, but you may add some application context as well. Right, so this is about application context root. Then we have Lombok. So this is what I talked about, is a library which helps us in writing clean code. It removes a lot of boilerplate code, makes our code more maintainable. We have Jakarta EE dependency here. We have the APIs, platform APIs. We will also have MicroProfile. We are using the entire MicroProfile here. And we have here the JUnit. So this is for testing, right? So we'll not go into too much detail about running test cases. Maybe after we cover all the features of MicroProfile, then we'll cover unit test in separate sessions. But now I'm coming to here, seeing that there is this Liberty Tool plugin. This is a build plugin, Maven plugin, which is used to build our code. I'll demonstrate that as well. And this is the var plugin to generate the var package, right, which we configured here. We have the packaging type var, so we have the Maven var plugin. So these are all simple code which is used for building, and so these are the standard code. So you can use this as a template. And here we have the configuration of failsafe server. A failsafe plugin is a plugin to run our JUnit tests, right? So these are some important things in the pom.xml. As I said, I'll also share a link to my Medium blog where I have detailed out POM configuration. So watch out for comments in this particular video. I will share more details about. Now, anything if you are struggling to understand in the POM, that will be there, available here. So we got the project compiled successfully. So we have MVN validate, MVN compile. I think it will check for Java version. Yes, so Java version is set 17. We are using 20 now. So let me try updating this to 21. Right, so now I updated this. Let me compile here again. Yes. Okay, sometimes in virtual machine it is slightly the experience of typing is not very responsive sometimes, depending on network connection or server. But yes, now it is built successfully. Now we have so there is another command just for your reference. If you want to run the test cases, you can run it using ambient test, right? But as I said, we'll cover this in detail in the next session. So I'm skipping this. Let's use the MVN Liberty plugin, Liberty, and then let's run it again in the dev mode. So MVN Liberty, let me just come back here. So we have this code, so you can have a reference of this code in this particular tutorial. I have the explanation of the code as well. So MVN Liberty run. So there is a difference in the colon here. So basically, okay, I forgot to run the command MVN Liberty, then run like this. Yeah. Right. So this will run the web service in run mode. but if I put run in dev mode. Okay, so just fixing the typo, it should be MVN. I'm adding M here, and now we will be seeing the application running. So yes, little bit this dev container is lagging. I'm facing some problem in typing. Should not happen like that usually, but yes, since I'm streaming my content, so that could be the reason. Yeah, it's temporary problem. Now it's fixed. Okay, so now I will run liberty dev. This will run the server and deploy our web server. Okay, something is giving error here. So here there is a error, compilation error. Okay, debug target 21 to target. Okay, so let me see this JCT tree. JCT import does not have a member field, so let me, looks like some configuration issue. I am asking my agent to, okay, can you fix this error? I think this is again between some compatibility of Java 21. Otherwise, we'll switch to Java 2017. Yeah, as I said, you see here is caused by incompatibility between the JDK version and Liberty Maven plugin. Okay. So we have to downgrade this, right? So this is the problem with the Maven plugin. So let's do that. I will ask apply in editor the changes, and in the active file pom.xml, so it will update. Yeah. Okay, so this changes looks good. I will take this, and now if I downgrade, it should also use JDK 17 here. So I would say how to switch to JDK 17 using SDK man, right? So I already had SDK man. We installed we also have 17 Java 17 also, right? So here simply we say use 17, right? So we can just say list Java. You can check SDK list Java, right? So we have Java 17 also, I believe. Not there. Then we can install. So SDK, we can install this one. So this is nice. We can take this command and run it directly. Okay, let's return. Let's say, let me return from here. Yeah. Now we'll run this. So okay, so one command at a time. Yeah, now this is running. It's downloading Java 17. and then we'll switch using SDK use Java 17. So TEM is for the Tamarind distribution. This I believe is from IBM. Yes, I will set this as default. Yeah. So no tip here, when you see something in capital, that's the default value. So we could have just pressed enter. We don't need to type Y because capital thing is the default option. So now I will check Java version and you see Java 17 running. So this is a good demonstration of how to switch between various Java versions. You can use these commands in your local desktop as well, but here I have used container, a dev container, and now I'll run the previous commands, which is ambient liberty dev. This time I should not get an error and I should be able to run my microservice successfully. And it will be a simple product catalog service which will list the products in the catalog. We have not used database now, but ideally we will be using the database. In other sections I will show you how to connect to a database, but yeah, that's not that important because our main focus is to cover microservices. So now we can open this particular service in the browser. So Open Liberty server is running here. This is the root. Then we have the context root. This time mp ecom. Let me just check this name. So this is the root is called mp ecom store. Because typo if happens, then this will not run. And then we have something called products, I think. Right. So file not found, product. Okay, we have the API and then products. Yeah. So now we see the product catalog returned in the form of JSON. So we have the JSON objects for both the products. So first product is ID1 with the description Apple iPhone 15. This is the name and price. All these details are available here. So this is successfully, we created a catalog service. But in real world, this is not that simple. So this is how we run I don't know what is this file. This is something we don't need. I can delete this, and any changes which we have made we can kind of commit, right? So we have some changes here. A lot of changes are not required because they will be we could create a git ignore file also. So you see here, now I will demonstrate another important thing is how do we ensure that we are not committing the compiled artifacts. We are only committing the artifacts, the source code, right? Because things which we can generate in compile time, design time, we should not commit. We should commit only the source code which we cannot generate. So here I'll say, please add a git ignore file with Java template to this project, right? I'm now asking it in GitHub Copilot. Earlier what I used to do before GitHub Copilot is there are templates available with other GitHub repositories about git ignore files that we can reuse. So now it will create a git ignore file for Java, right? So this is created where it is created, it's created within the project, and I will ask it to keep these changes. So basically it will not include any of the artifacts like var and all that. We may not need all of them, but good to have it for future. So yeah, we take it. So I'll say keep it. I think still it is not that proper, because it says liberty config. We should see commit all the changes here. We should not target directory is something which we should not commit things which are within the target directory. So I will ask please also update. Okay, don't need to be so polite to this GitHub Codespace, but please update, or you can say just update .gitignore file to ignore target directory. Right, so now I have mentioned what to do, and the agent will update the gitignore file. These are simple configuration tasks, so GitHub Copilot is very good for that. I would not recommend for doing some complex algorithm. There definitely, if you are doing, you should review it. But yes, here it should update. So where are the changes about it? The gitignore has been updated to ensure target is ignored. This will prevent. Okay. But it is not preventing. I would say liberty rest. Maybe I have to give the entire path. Liberty rest app. Okay, so why we have these many files is the same gitignore we should use for the other project also. Okay, so let me say keep this changes, looks good. Okay, so yeah, rather than asking this, I will just take the same gitignore file and add it to the other project also. Correct. So feel free to ask any questions in the chat if you have. If you have some suggestions also, let me know. Then this will be yes. If some things which you know which I am missing out, you can also update. So here I am adding a new file which is .gitignore, and this is just some housekeeping work I'm doing so that our commits are cleaner and it does not show unnecessary things. These are some best practices which you should use while you are building a app in production. So now I will save this. So okay, so .name is important here because I will rename it. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I have switched my project. Sometimes maybe it's a refresh issue. And I go here also, maybe I'll refresh. I still see so many changes. So can just remove all these files which are open. Close all. just give me a minute. Okay, so here is ensure dot git ignore file is not allowing changes to target directly committed. Okay, so yeah, we have the git ignore file. So dot class, anything which is having dot class extension will not be, and same is the case for various files. Then we have directories here. So let me see, let me say that, okay, I'll put liberty rest app slash target, right? So this should help me. So even after updating, okay, let me try this to improve this by switching the agent. So I like the Sonnet agent. Sonnet is better. You will see why. So please review the dot git ignore file. Okay. Yeah, we will otherwise skip it. I will provide you the solution which is better. So here so basically what I'm trying to fix is we are getting a lot of changes which are to be committed, right? So maybe this would be the solution. .mf file. Okay, then we have .cs files, right? These are some checksums, right? So if I put all these in my git ignore, this will prevent getting too many changes. Okay. Okay. Yes, so it's suggesting that we can have a git ignore at the top level, so that we don't have to have a project specific git ignore. So I would say, please update as per your recommendations. Yes, now I have updated as per the recommendations by GitHub Sonnet agent, and this should be removing all these additional files. So we are almost done with chapter 2. We will start next chapter would be about I believe configuration, how to do external configuration to microservices. Okay. So now what it has done, it has removed the redundant git ignore file and have created it at the root level. So this is fine. This is better, right? But somehow still I see a lot of commits. So .mf and .cs is what they should not have this. Still I see. Let me figure it out and I'll share what's the reason, and I will fix this maybe by referring to my other projects. Let's not spend more time here. Let's move to next content. So here we saw how to run product catalog, and we saw it how to use Open Liberty runtime. I've provided here links to other runtime if you want to try out any other runtime. For example, there is serverless Tom E microprofile. The instructions are also provided here. Helidon, Wildfly. So these are various other production grade application server where you can run your microservices. Okay, now let me come to next section, which is testing our microservice. So this is about testing our microservice. I'll skip it so that we can cover this in our next session. Yeah, testing we should not skip generally. It's very important. But I understand at this particular point, learning the fundamentals of microservices is more important. So I would skip it, not just because it is less important, but because there are other topics which are more important. So here I have a recommendation about the project structure, which we should use to build a microservice. So just this is some best practice which I have shared. So you can have a DTO class, data transfer objects. This is important when you are calling a microservice and you are building a client, you are consuming a microservice. You may not need all the properties of an object. So what you can do is you can create a subset of properties of the object which you are consuming. For example, when you are calling the order microservice, say in payment microservice, you may not need the quantity of each and every item. You may just need the price of your order. So in that case, you may have a order object, which is a subset of original order object, and here you only contain the price. An entity class is the class of model of the current microservice. For example, in our product service, we could create a folder called entity, and within that entity we have a product Pojo object. We did it in that way. So here we have here a source code, and our directory structure is entity class, and in that we have a Pojo object for the model. Now next thing is repository. Repository is collection of objects, and when you do CRUD operations for database access, you can put everything in the repository. I'll demonstrate that repository usage in the next chapters. So shortly we will be seeing this. Then we have service class. Service class is something which is used to build services, and services will contain the core business logic. Okay. And then the resource class. Resource class is everything which is dealing with REST protocol. Could be there in the REST resource file. Then you may have a common folder for utility classes, exception handling, security, right? Related classes. Then you have client class, where you will be creating a microprofile REST client when you are communicating between two services. So we haven't reached that particular level of code yet. Then we have configuration class for microprofile configuration, exception folder, and util folder. Right. So these are some of the folder structure recommendations. So in our project we'll be building something like product, cart, user, inventory, order, payment, shipment. So this will be the folder structure for the entire application, right? Let's move to the next section. Next section is about glossary. So this is not much. So this is all about building a microservice with very minimal feature. This is not a production ready microservice. This is a microservice which just contains some business logic. So now let's move on to the next feature of MicroProfile. Right. So this next feature will be, let's see what's there in this chapter. So this is about the core profile. So here we will be discussing more in depth about some dependency injections, right? So this is so let's talk about what is Jakarta EE 10 core profile. So here as I told you, Jakarta EE 10 core profile is a specification specifically for microservices and cloud native application, right? And Jakarta EE is a comprehensive framework. It was earlier called Java EE. This is for building the entire enterprise grade application. So in enterprise grade application, that includes UI as well. But for microservices, you don't need UI frameworks like we have servlets, JSPs, right? So there are a lot of things. Now Jakarta MVC is also there. But yes, if you want to learn Jakarta EE in detail, I will share more sessions on that later, because I am author of a book on Jakarta EE 10 as well. But yes, our focus right now is to build microservices using MicroProfile framework and build some features like configuration management, fault tolerance, health checks, monitoring, etc. on our current e-commerce microservices. So now moving to what all standards are there in Jakarta EE course profile, because only things which are required to build microservices are dependency injection. So the context and dependency injection is the specification, which is about annotations to do dependency injection. We have RESTful web services. So RESTful web services and JSON processing and JSON binding. So these are the minimal specifications which are required for building a micro profile or microservices using Java. So this is all about Jakarta EE core profile, right? So these are some of the basics: annotations, context and dependency injection. There is something called interceptors also, and then JSON processing, JSON binding, and REST API. So these are the minimal things which you need to learn in order to build a vanilla microservice, like what we did just now, build a hello world microservice, and we'll build a product microservice. So this you can read later. I will be sharing the link. So this is the link of chapter 3. Let me put this in the chat, my chat window. Let me just, so that you can follow along and go through this content later. So yeah, I'm just putting chapter 3 link. Okay. Let me also put for chapter 1 and 2, or you should be able to figure it out by yourself. Just replace chapter 3, chapter 2, chapter 1. Okay, but for convenience, let me put that also, so that everyone gets can easily navigate. And chapter links to chapter 1 and chapter 2. And then one important thing was there is readme and index also, so that is also important content. Now coming back to so we have key features. So type safe dependency injection, lifecycle management, interceptors. So if you want to learn more about interceptors, I have provided here the link. So I'm not going into detail because otherwise it will be too much. We'll focus mostly on the microprofile framework. So I'm just skipping details of each and every framework, but here in this tutorial you will see link to the documentation to learn all these specification in more depth. If you are building some project and you get stuck, then you can use it, right? Again, in comments I will share some blogs also for these if you want to try it out, some of the sample codes. Correct. So now coming back our entity class. Okay, now here we are jumping into how to build an application which is utilizing database. So let me go here, let me commit the code. Okay, so I will we didn't made any changes. Let me see, we have changes here. So we added git ignore file, so that is one considerable change. Okay, I can commit, we can commit it. So I will stage this change. Dev container JSON. Okay, we added some things here, so let me also stage this change. Then we have hello world resources. Okay, this is just for demonstration purpose, we don't need this. I will revert back this change because this we were just changing some message to demonstrate the hot code reload, right? If you had joined later than when I demonstrated hot code reload using open liberty dev mode, you can just watch later the previous part of the video, right? So I'm just saying discard file, and there is some other configuration. Okay, liberty plugin configuration, etc. These are all internal details, we don't have to worry about it. Okay, so these are all other changes which we don't, right? So now these changes I will commit. So I will say commit and also push, so that it is committed and pushed to the main remote repository, right? But before that, okay, this one way, the old way, where I can put the commit message at the top, but I will ignore this. Let me generate the commit message and enter here automatically. So I'm using AI to generate the commit message. So here I clicked on this star. So it says update dev container configuration and enhance git ignore for building artifacts. See, this generated comment is exactly the representation of what changes I have made. Very useful feature nowadays, because a lot of developers, they always feel lazy in typing descriptive message, and these commit messages are very important. Now I say commit and push, so the changes will be pushed. Okay, we can, yeah, I will just ignore this because I'm only making the changes. No one else is making right now any changes to the repository or to this particular example. So fetching git changes at regular interval or periodically is not required. Now my chapter 2 is updated with the changes we just discussed. Now let me switch to chapter. I will use the GitHub Copilot agent to switch to chapter 3 branch, right? So let's say how much time it takes. Correct. So for all the git commands, for commit, I always use nowadays Copilot. So Copilot agent is helping me to ignore the intricacies of git, intricacies of bash scripting or bash or Linux commands. And yes, see, it gives me, I can switch, right? Okay, so now I switch to my new repo, new branch, which is chapter 3. So let's see what's now the code all about. Okay, so in this particular, as I said, we have the product class, we have resources, right? So we have resources with the, again, 2 products. Now we have get service, we have some log messages also, right? So I have used a logger here, and this logger is based on the java.util logger. So not the recommended logger, because it lacks a lot of feature. Generally we use SLF for J, logback or some other more better library for logging. So I would recommend use log4j, some other better library. I'll demonstrate that also later in a separate session. Maybe logging is another very interesting topic and very important topic. We should know to build good microservices. But for this particular use case, this logger is sufficient. And then I have a get service. I have a get a single product, get by ID, and get all product, 2 services. I have the post methods, other methods as well. Post, delete, update. So all the methods I have implemented. Now only get methods I can test in the browser. For other methods, we can use curl command, or you can use postman to test other commands, or you can write test cases. Okay, so this is changes in the code in this chapter. So let's run this now without wasting much time, because we have covered the code in detail in the previous few minutes. Now I'm running the command. So mvn liberty. Okay, let me just say mvn compile. Okay, so there is some changes required, I believe, again, because we should visit pom.xml. Okay, this is time, it's Java 17. So let me check our pom first, mvn validate. Okay, there is some typo, I believe, in mvn or pom. Okay, no, sorry, this is I'm not inside the project. We should go inside the project. So cd mp e-commerce store. Okay, then I will now run mvn validate to validate the pom.xml. Nice. So the pom.xml is valid. So always you should run all these mvn command inside your project. In your project, you should have the pom.xml in the current directory. Now we'll say mvn compile. Okay, so that is also successfully compiled. Mvn install. So my project is also built successfully. mvn package, also one another command, just to know that this is command to build the var files. So with this command you will see that there is a var which is generated here. Now I will run mvn liberty in dev mode. So now this is building the project and it is running our Open Liberty server, and a RESTful web service will be available. So this is the last demonstration for today. I will be closing this session after this demonstration, and for further chapters I will start again tomorrow. I'll share the time for session for tomorrow after in few hours. So subscribe to my channel, keep following me, and we will cover remaining chapters, which is about configuration, open API, building, fault tolerance, telemetry, health checks. So these are so many topics to be covered. Okay, there is some error. Don't worry, we'll cover this and resolve all these. So here, if you are also trying with me, you can comment, right? And so debug pit. Okay, so now this problem is the ports are already used, so we should close these ports, and then we should try to rerun it. Okay, so did we closed the previous sessions? Okay, so there are some feature definition related issues. Okay, so here I see that we have server.xml and here we have the features. So defined. So we were talking about the modularity of Open Liberty server. So you should know here that these are the features. You can configure what all you need, and things which you don't need you can remove. So this makes the server lightweight, modular, and configurable as well. So basically there are two possibilities which can be used for platform tag. First is the Jakarta EE 10.0 and MicroProfile 6.1, right? So okay, let me remove this. We are in the chapter 3, and I'm trying to run this again. Just to see what are the errors, and then we'll try to resolve. This time it looks working. Sometimes these errors comes maybe while downloading, some things didn't get successfully downloaded. So here it's successfully running, no problem at all. So I will open this and then we'll go to the service. So we have products and we have product by ID. So here I'll provide the ID 1. So you see the first product with ID 1. Yeah, so this is the ID 1. I can format this. Yeah, so we had two product. This is the product with ID 2. So these are two different product. Product 2 is MacBook Air. Product 1 is the first one, which is iPhone. Now if I don't give any ID, then it will show all the products. So it shows both the products. So this is the enhancement we had in this chapter, which is one of the first enhancement. But tomorrow we'll cover how to introduce a database, so that instead of having a static list, which is a hard-coded list at the moment, we can use a database and then perform CRUD operations on these databases. So that will be there, but this code I will give you for reference, so that you know how to build all the services. Put service for updating the microservice, delete and get and post service as well, right? And this is the code in this particular tutorial for how to add a product table database behind this particular microservice data, which is in the model. So here we have covered everything about repositories and entities, and also this is basically coming all this from Jakarta Persistence. Earlier it was known as JPA, Java Persistence API. Now in the new versions it is called Jakarta Persistence. And the package has also changed. Earlier it was Java EE dot persistence, and then whatever is the class name, now it is Jakarta dot persistence. This has happened after the Java EE has been donated to Open Source Foundation. So here we'll cover this chapter and all the specific details about the code of this chapter tomorrow. Thank you for joining. I will end this session as of for now, but if you have any questions, I'll be there, and let me share you some important information here, because this is important tutorial, and this covers, you can be ready with all the chapters, some idea, and then when I will be demonstrating it, you will be in sync. So you see here, these are the chapter content. Let me share the repository to you so that you can refer this tutorial. So this is my repository for the tutorial. I already shared it, but will share it again. So you can check MicroProfile tutorial. Then I have here my source code. So for source code, there is a repository. Everything will be committed in the same repository, but for now I will share you the repository and branch for the chapters which I already covered. And so let me go to my repository. Yeah. So we covered chapter 2 source code. So here is the source code for chapter 2, and I'm just putting all this in the chat if you are wondering. Yes, know where I'm sharing. And then we have chapter 3 source code. Okay. So now thank you all for attending this session for today. Tomorrow we'll cover again more topics, and no, subscribe to my channel so that I'll update whenever I'll update the timing of the session. You will get the notification, and you will not miss out the remaining chapters. And you can refer to the recording, which will also be available once I end this stream. So this recording will also be available for your reference. Thank you. But yes, if any questions, feel free to post in chat. I'll be there online for few minutes.